Welcome to What the Biz, where we talk about building successful businesses, balancing life, and all the WTB in between. With your hosts,
I'm Brigitte Vegter.
And I'm Dan Proczko.
What's up?
Hello.
Hello. So, welcome everybody to another episode of What the Biz. I'm Dan Proczko. Today we are hopefully going to save you some time. We're definitely going to save you some time. Definitely going to save you some money and hopefully a whole lot of regret. Okay. We're talking about something nobody tells you till it's too late. It's what you should be asking before you hire a bookkeeper. And lucky for me, I've got my trusty co-host, Brigitte Vegter, here with us. How you doing?
I'm doing great. The sun is still shining. It's getting chillier here in Michigan, which I like fall. I don't know about the cold yet. It was very chilly this morning. But no, the sun is still out. Things are good. We are moving and shaking over here at Vegter Financial. And yeah, Q4 is off to a running start.
I know it's like everybody thinks like weather is small talk, but I'll tell you, I'm going to make this real talk. This is my favorite time of year right now. And what happened yesterday when it rained overnight and rained in the morning, like hardcore, it's my favorite time of year because we went from like 85 to 66 degrees. And having that 20-degree swing, like what happens in our house is we immediately switch all of our clothes, like all of our summer stuff goes into boxes, okay? All the windows open up, okay? Because I want this house chilly. I want to feel like I am in the brisk air because then I get wrapped up in sweatshirts. I get sweaters out. We get our blankets. I know we sound like we're old 80-year-olds or whatever, but like I love this weather so much. Something about the cozy, cold, crisp, and like when it changes, it's so great. The air, it's just like, I don't know, you smell fall. I absolutely love it. It's my thing. That's it.
It smells like apples and pumpkins and donuts.
Yeah, a little bit of rotting leaves, but it's a good, it's like a good thing for me. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, I mean,
I think it's funny that you said it's like small talk. And I forget, like, we have people not from Michigan that listen to us. And if you don't live from a state where weather can change, just like Dan said, and like overnight, it does impact your productivity and your mental state and all of the things. So it is a big deal for those of us here in Michigan.
I mean, look, in the winter, what? We get like almost no sun. Like we get sun for like 100 days a year. And then the other 260 days is just gray and drab.
Which is why when I say it's sunny out, it's excitement.
I know, right? That's exactly why. It's like, oh my God, we have sun. You know, I didn't know. I honestly, when I moved here, I didn't know we were the London of the Midwest. You know, like we have like no sun. It's insane.
Yeah.
But so it matters. So it matters on days, you know, when the temperature drops 20 degrees and you're forced to pull out your fall and winter sweaters. It feels wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. So yeah, I'm going to make it. I made it real talk. I had to. It's my favorite time. This is my absolute favorite time. When I can wear a jacket, long sleeves, pants, a hat, it's my thing. It's my jam. It just feels, I don't know. It's like it's comfortable. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. I like every season but winter. Like I'm done with winter. I like everything else. I can pass on rainy season, but I know the purpose of it. So it's fine. It's all fine.
Fair enough.
And I mean, I consider winter, this is kind of funny. I consider winter my time when I really dive into more of our big like company projects, more of our big business projects, because it's hibernation season and I can focus, right? I'm hibernating, and I think this is a great episode for moving into Q4 beginning of next year, because what comes soon is like tax season and closing out your books and setting your goals for the next year. And, you know, whether you're a new business owner trying to get numbers in order, or you're on bookkeeper number 3 and still wondering why nothing feels right, I think what we're talking about today is going to be for either one of you in that world, because ultimately, hiring a bookkeeper is something that I firmly believe all business owners need at some point. It should make your life easier, but when the wrong questions, like when there aren't things getting asked when you are looking to make that hire, you can end up with a crazy mess and working with somebody that you may not actually enjoy working with. So from my perspective as a bookkeeper, I have put together, and I know, Dan, you have some insight on this too, 10 questions that I think you should be asking if you are venturing down the road of hiring somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm looking forward to this, considering we did hire a bookkeeper. We hired you, and so we loved it. And I remember everything we were going through as we were leading into it and everything. So this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. So I want to kick everything off with just making a statement that not all accountants are created equally. I think there is a huge amount of confusion when people say, oh, I have a CPA, or, oh, I have a tax preparer. Oh, I work with this auditor, or, I have somebody over here that assists on our payroll. These are all different specialties. And I think about it like doctors or other professions where there are different specialties. There are different specialties for accountants. So not all bookkeepers come in the same shape, size, style, and neither do businesses, right? So some may be data entry. Some can literally be your financial therapist. We may fall into that world quite frequently. And it is funny, but it is one of our favorite roles just because we get to watch the breakthroughs, and it's a unique place to be at. Some use spreadsheets, some will use software, some use AI, some use dashboards. So I think the key here is to understand not everybody's equal. If you feel like you're not getting what you need out of your partner that you may already have, so if you already have a tax preparer or CPA, it could be just because they don't do what you're looking for. So maybe you're expecting something out of them that they wouldn't be doing. And you've just got to match the right level of service to where you are in business. And hopefully the 10 questions we're going to go through today get you there.
Yeah. I mean, we've had how many conversations in the past around, a good CPA versus a good bookkeeper versus nightmare CPA, nightmare bookkeeper, et cetera. And in my experience of talking with our clients, and the reason we came to work with you is like, most of us are looking for financial clarity. What is going on with our money? What is going on with the finances? How much do I have for certain things? What does my cash flow look like every month? Am I in the red? Am I in the black? Are things out of band in certain areas? Am I spending too much in certain areas? And that's been amazing working with the team that understands how to look at the finances and to have those conversations where we're not bringing it up. Even it's your team. Like when we're sitting down with your team, they're bringing it up to us, and it's awesome because we're getting questions like, hey, we noticed that you spent like 10x more in this category than you did in the last like 3 months combined. What's going on? And that's where it's just like, oh no, yeah, this was a planned thing, etc. But love getting that, because sometimes it's been things where it's like, oh, we what? And like, I remember finding we spent $3,000 on client ads and we never billed them for it. And that came out of one of those conversations, and it just somehow got missed along the way. And so being able to recoup that, instead of to just be out $3,000 and not really understand why, is amazing. So, if you're listening right now and you're a fast growing company, I mean, even if you're not, if you're established and you're at a place, there's always things to fix. But if you're fast growing, you got a lot of recurring revenue, merchant fees, payroll. I mean, there's a lot of complexity here. I think these questions and looking at how to hire a bookkeeper are really going to be valuable for you.
Love it. Yeah. I think you nailed it with I don't know, when you're looking to partner with somebody in this world, you need somebody that understands and can interpret data for your business. And you may be saying to yourself, like, oh, I have a bookkeeper, but they aren't doing this. That doesn't mean they're wrong. It may be that this just isn't their focus. Like they may not go to that advisory level. They may be great at the data entry, but if you are growing, I always say you need somebody that's going to be a growth strategist on your side. And that's a specialty, and not everybody provides it. So I think we can just hop into, the 10 questions that I really wish business owners would be asking before hiring a bookkeeper? I mean, I wish we would get asked this, but we've kind of tailored our initial conversation to answer these questions without people having to ask us because we know how important it is. So I'm going to just dive in. Number one, ask them what their bookkeeping philosophy is. Like, are they focused on tax prep? Do they dive into cash flow? Are they going to give you anything that's in the advisory world? This question can tell you if the person you're looking to work with is going to be more reactive and looking at the past, or if they're going to be more strategic and really helping you grow to your future place that you want to be.
To what you said earlier around like many saying, oh, I have a CPA. Most CPAs, at least most businesses, hire a CPA for tax prep. And that's kind of the extent. And those CPA agencies or firms don't always go beyond that even. And so to think I have these other elements in place is short-sighted, I guess is one way to describe it, or just not being aware that there's more out there that you can get, I think is the better way for me to put it, is that if you're just leaning on your CPA, you just may not be getting the best that you can get. And so I love this question for that reason.
Such a great point. We actually partner really great with CPAs. So we are a firm that can do taxes. We just don't for our clients. Let me explain that real quick. So this is kind of like a bonus question or thing that you could be asking somebody. We don't, because we believe in checks and balances. So if we are in your books every day and we're giving you advice and we're giving you strategic pieces to put into your business, we firmly believe somebody else should be filing your taxes. It keeps everybody in check. It keeps everything honest. You get multiple people's eyes on your books, and we call it the financial dream team. Every business owner should have a financial dream team around them. And we work great with all of our client CPAs because they focus on taxes and they rely on us for, the day-to-day. And we all can put our heads together in a room and just make that client even better in their business. So just a bonus tip there. Let's dive back to questions. Number 2, do you work with businesses like mine? So this is a question you could be asking a lot of partners that you may be looking to engage with for services. But, if they only serve retail and you run a coaching business and you have Stripe payments and maybe some like coaching platforms, it's probably not going to be a great match. Like if they don't focus in your industry or like industries to you, you're probably going to find it's really hard for them to give you the advice that you're looking for. You probably see this too with marketing.
I do tons. I was going to say it's pretty straightforward. We get asked this question a lot actually. And if we don't, we usually bring it up right away. That like, hey, we do or we don't have clients in this industry, or we do or don't have experience in it before. It does go a long way, because when a partner has experience in the industry, you can get up and running that much faster. They already understand, but like for us, we already understand, the keywords, the ads, the targeting, exactly, the language, what has to be done for many of the industries we already work with, because we've learned it already. And so I'm sure the same is true in bookkeeping.
Absolutely. Okay. So number 3, asking what software they're using. So I know that there are plenty in the industry that are like, we can serve any software. We are firmly saying we serve QuickBooks Online. So if you're in QuickBooks and they use Wave and, that probably won't work. Maybe they'll want you to change, which maybe you're willing to change because you've outgrown the software, or maybe there's pieces you don't like about it. Or maybe you find a partner that you like so much that you want to go to their platform. I'll say we have that happen quite often, because we will say, nope, we are only serving QuickBooks Online. And we have a lot of people that will make the switch just because every other piece we are connecting on, and software isn't that big of a deal to them. So if they do say that they can service all the softwares, please let this be a red flag. It's going to tell you they're not specialized in any software that they're using. And to me, that just is never a great place to be. they can understand a few softwares, but I would hope that they have a specialty that they are really focused in to serve their clients.
Oh God, same here. I'm just thinking email marketing. I mean, there's so many platforms like for MailChimp, Constant Contact, et cetera. But like we know two, that's where we're at. We're really good at two. We're partners in two. Those are the only two we're focusing on. We're trying to make it one. We don't want to have to do, like the platforms, like including QuickBooks. I mean, how many changes have we seen in QuickBooks recently?
Right.
And they changed the whole user interface, which caused headaches for over a week. Like, where did this report go? Where did, this element go? I remember you telling me about this little clients going in there trying to run their own reports and whatever else. So, I mean, just thinking about platforms always changing, evolving. If you have to understand 4 or 5, oh my God. I mean, It'll be a full-time job just keeping up with the feature set changes, let alone becoming an expert in them.
Yeah. And probably not keeping up with the features, to be honest.
Now, I will say, there are some industries that have specific requirements in bookkeeping. And so they have other platforms that you have to tie into. And, if you're not an expert in your software, like QuickBooks or, whatever that may be, making those connections work gets very, very difficult and can lead to huge errors that become time consuming and costly. And that leads to poor decision making down the line because you don't have timely information. So like, I just think of it that way, as well, is like, it's not just about, are they good at the one accounting platform? But like, if they're experts in 900, then it's like, how do they know how to connect everything together? It gets very, very complicated very, very quickly.
Yeah, great point. So question 4 is asking them what they are going to need from you each month. I think this is often overlooked. But if you are talking to a service provider and they're still chasing down receipts and statements or other documents they need from you, and they don't have tools to do that, like if they are not mentioning streamlined tools or processes, you can guess that you're probably going to have a lot of back and forth and a lot of extra headaches for you. So we specifically have a system where we provide all of our new clients a way to get us read-only access to their accounts. That allows us to pull the documents we need on our own, so we don't need to bother them. Like, our goal is to always make sure that we are doing everything we possibly can to get the information for ourselves, to not put something else back on the business owner, because it's just silly if we have to. Now, we also use tools like we use HubDoc for receipt capturing. So we have some clients that want us to do that. By utilizing that, the client can literally take a picture with their phone and it comes right to us. Like, how easy for sharing receipts. We use another platform called Content Snare. So if we do have things we need to request from them, it's a secure portal. They upload it. We know clients are busy, so it gives them reminders in case they can't get to it right away. And it's just a very easy click-in platform. So asking what they're going to need and how they plan to get it from you is going to give you a ton of insight for how much extra work you're going to have each month just by working with them.
Not only that, like as the company that's hiring the bookkeeper, like thinking about how much mental power do I have to expend to get everything together so that my bookkeeper can do their job. If they say we have these platforms, these processes in place, is really what they're saying. Oh my God, your life is going to be that much easier. And I can tell you, our life is that much easier. I mean, we get that Content Snare email and we click the button and we just upload the things we got to upload. We just have them ready and they go to one place instead of, attaching it to an email. Oh, I didn't have that. Now I got to remember to send something else. No, I just get these reminders. I know exactly what I got to send to my bookkeeper and I don't have to worry about it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, great feedback. And I mean, I think it just tells you how organized a business is on the back end and if they're honed in on these processes, it means that they've done it enough that they know what they're doing. Question 5, how do you handle corrections or catch-up work? So this is a big one. How are they going to handle charging for that? Is it going to be hourly? Is it going to be a flat fee? What is it going to look like for the cleanup process? Are you going to get ghosted? I mean, I would hope if you're hiring somebody you don't, but I have heard more than enough horror stories in this world So just asking the questions of how they handle it, you can tell pretty quickly if they have that system and process down too. And this is where it's going to tell you, like, how do errors get handled? What if there's messy months? How does all of this get addressed? In our world, I'll give you an example. All of our cleanups are done on a flat fee. So we do what we call a health checkup. If you are in QuickBooks Online, we can actually go in 48 hours. We give you a full video walkthrough of anything we see that needs to be corrected or caught up inside of your books. That is all put into a proposal, one flat fee. Here's what we're catching up. And then from that, we already know what you need from us, and we build like 3 service packages. So if a vendor that you're looking to work with in bookkeeping can't tell you how they get that information or have a process for it, I would be a little weary about what that cleanup is going to look like and how complicated it's going to be. And if they say they bill hourly, you can expect that you're probably going to be paying more than what you would pay if it was a flat fee process.
Love it. No, it's straightforward. Yeah.
Number 6, ask every vendor you're going to work with this question, but what happens if I outgrow your services? Can they scale with you? Do they offer reporting, forecasting, or different referrals to a CFO level partner? This is where you can really gauge what this potential bookkeeper may be capable of doing and where they can grow with you too, and maybe where their services might stop. I mentioned our 3 tiers. We go to CFO level. I mentioned, our passion is in the advisory world and being that financial therapist, if you will. But we also recognize that we get businesses that come to us that need basic level. They're just ready to get some things off their plate. So we love the grow with you model. Like, we'll meet you where you're at, and we will continue to meet you where you're at in your business. But certainly if a company gets too big for us to handle or outgrow what we can do, we have a wonderful, set of partners that we can refer to. And this is a great question to ask so that you kind of know what that may look like as your business grows.
Yeah, I look at this even from another point of view, and that is a point of view of how beholden is the partner to me, is one way I look at this. If I'm the partner's largest client, that's kind of a detriment to all their other clients, okay? Now, I can't hold it against my partner too much. If they're growing and I'm the first of their larger clients, okay, but I want to see that they're bringing others my size in. Why is this a detriment? It's going to mean either I'm not going to get enough attention because they have so many other clients, but they're smaller, okay? Or all of their other clients are not going to get enough attention because I'm larger. And so they're going to have issues as a business growing or keeping client base. And that's not good for me either. So that question has kind of 2 sides to it. And I bring it up that way because I've been asked that question by our marketing clients, like, are we your largest client? And sometimes we have to say, yes, you are, but it's not by much. Or, yeah, you are twice as much. And it's okay because we're hiring employees so that we can handle you as well as everything else because we've brought you in. And so we have processes around when we have to do that and everything. And to hear from your bookkeeper, what happens when we outgrow or as they grow, even as a company, what happens is really important from that perspective too.
Yeah. And that actually leads into a great question that's on this list. So I'll just go to this one next. You can ask, who will I be working with on your team? I know in the accounting space, business owners get really weary, or like they have maybe some bad experiences where they talked with one person, when they were getting their tax preparer, maybe another bookkeeper, and they get handed off and never hear from that person again. Or, they don't even know that they're going to be handed off. So this is a great question to ask, because if it's a solo bookkeeper, you're going to know that they are the only person there to serve you. And what you just brought up, Dan, is very important to understand. Like, do they have intentions to bring on other staff members? Will you have access to somebody else? Is a junior team member going to be handling the file while somebody else is reviewing it? So kind of knowing who's in your books and who's accountable, I think is really important around that. If I outgrow, the other side of that is, who am I going to be talking to?
Yeah.
And in our situation, we explain to every client coming into our world is that we assign 2 team members to them. Our purpose is, we never want a client to reach out and have to say, oh, well, the person that works on your file is on vacation and they'll be back. We want at least 2 people aware of what's going on. There's always typically a main point person, but at least somebody else on the team is up to speed on every client file. And we use a centralized team inbox. So we all kind of see the conversations going on. And because we have such an in-depth internal FAQ team sharing platform, we are pretty well in tune with all of our clients. So even if we do have a junior team member working on a file and somebody else is reviewing it, both are pretty well up to speed on what's going on at any given time. And I think the team inbox, our client feedback has been phenomenal about that, just because there's always somebody there to answer. And I think that's what's missing in a lot of accounting world of I just can't get the person to answer me. Well, we want to be the person that answers. And so who you're looking to hire should have a great response for this. So who is going to be assigned to your file and how you can get a hold of them.
Yeah, it's been an amazing experience being on the client side of that, actually, just emailing in, but always having that person responding with knowledge of what's going on. It's been amazing. And I love that point about how asking this, it helps you understand, what their growth mindset is around their business. If they're talking to you in the way that they will always be the one looking at it, they haven't quite reached that growth mindset in the company, and that could be limiting as you grow. But if they keep saying, things like, I'm going to be starting, yes, but we are growing and we have intentions of hiring, et cetera, or I may not always be the person on the account. If you hear that mindset, none of that's a negative. That's a positive thing. We should expect our partners' businesses to grow. And that's a good thing, because that just means that as they grow, they open up capacity. Your quality should maintain, the way through, that you're not going to get bottlenecked because, one person is handling too many clients, et cetera. So yeah, it's a great question.
Yeah, no. And I love that. I've moved away from a lot of the day-to-day client stuff, for us specifically. But our clients knew that was happening, and I only touch certain things. But it's funny when I do hop on a client meeting just because I want to say hi, or I haven't seen somebody in a while, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know that we're still here? I'm like, I see all your emails. You literally asked this last week. And they're like, you do? I was like, I'm still fully around everybody. Yeah, it's fun. So along that same line, ask, what does communication look like? Are you going to be emailing back and forth? Do they offer a chat option? Do they do monthly meetings? For us, that depends on the package you're in. Is there a client portal? Like I mentioned, content snare. But clarity around what communication looks like and who you'll be communicating with and how can really prevent any misalignment or missed deadlines, missed questions, unclear expectations, frustrations, all the things that happen around communication. So just ask the question. So we have 2 left here, and I'm going to go with this one because I think when somebody hires an expert in the accounting world, they don't necessarily think about how they're going to know if their books are correct, right? So asking how will you know that is a great question. Do they close your books on a monthly basis? Are they going to provide review meetings? Is there reports coming to your inbox that are on a frequent basis? What are you kind of looking for in those reports, and what you're going to be getting is a great way to make sure your stuff is staying up to date, in line, and accurate. And I think a lot of business owners are like, well, if I've hired a professional, do I even need to worry about if they're correct? Sadly, yes. We've seen the horror stories. And we've also heard potential clients say oh, I get my reports once a year at tax time. I would encourage you to find somebody that's sending them frequently to you. We do it monthly. I mean, every client, even if they're on one of our, I would call it like our lower tier entry packages, we still send a monthly report package because we may have questions. And we may have things that we need from them, and doing it consistently, and a business owner being able to see their income and expenses and all of those important numbers on a monthly basis is so important for us because we know how important it is for them. That's just like a non-negotiable for us.
Yeah, I'd say if you can't see your reports manually yourself at any time, run ASAP. Big red flag. Okay, if you can't pull up a report at any time of day, that's a problem. So there you go. That's my big red flag right there.
That's a really good one.
I've never run into that, but I have heard somebody tell me like, "Oh, I'm going to have to ask my bookkeeper for that report." I'm like, "Can't you just pull it up?" And they said, "No." And I said, "You need to change bookkeepers." Like that was my number immediately. I was like, "You've just got to get away because you need to be able to see that at any time. Like you shouldn't have to have a request in to see your books. Like that should be something you have access to. It's possible nowadays."
I've actually heard that around payroll a lot too. So even if they can't access their accounting, or maybe they can, there are firms that process the payroll in a separate system. And we use one specifically that our clients can access their own payroll and their own reports, because I don't think that should be a secret either. So that is a really great point. And I would say lastly, ask them what their onboarding process looks like. Somebody that's a pro in this arena should have a very streamlined onboarding process and systems. They shouldn't be just asking for logins over email. So specifically listen for when you're speaking about the onboarding process, how you're going to get the tasks or, the things that they're going to need for you. What is that timeline going to look like? What are the tools that they use for this? If they don't list a tool, it's probably going to be very manual and very back and forth email, like just dropping you things that they need. I mentioned it. We use Content Snare. I know that there's other platforms out there, but definitely listen for that type of platform and who's going to have ownership and what's going to be expected of you and what they are going to be fulfilling on their side. This process should sound clean. Like I know it's very much like, oh gosh, it's a checklist of things I have to do. But if they have a great onboarding process and system, this should be relatively quick and painless, especially if they're going to ask you for read-only access to pull all of their own documents that they need.
Yeah. So 10 awesome questions. And we've kind of alluded to a few of them already, but my question, right now is like, what are some red flags to look out for? And I know we've had a couple of them. Like we already talked about, like, hey, if they're gating your information, you're not able to get it like at a moment's notice, which is just inherent in platforms nowadays, pretty much. Run. Anything else that you've heard or run across, like as you've taken over accounts?
If they never ask you about your business model, like if they are not interested in what you're doing, where you're going, how you're doing it, what your goals and dreams are, like if they're not asking about your setup, I would say that's probably a red flag. There is a big one about if you're asking for further clarification or, I guess just questions, and they say, don't worry about it.
Oh no.
Run from that one.
Yeah.
And
Talk about dismissing
Yes.
and not like listening to the client, like one, like at a minimal level, but two, it's like, to me, that's just like, okay, what are you doing with my money? Like, that's just really where my brain goes, like, what do you mean don't worry about it? You're fired. I am what? That doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely. If they talk to you more in like tax terms or accounting jargon and not so much in like the health of your business, and this can apply for partners you're already working with. So like, keep that in mind. You probably have a red flag. Like, I don't think that they're, necessarily focused on your future. They're just more focused on like immediate or past what's happened. if they're not providing you those month-end reports, we already hit on that, but I think that's a huge one. If those are not coming to you, you are not getting what you need. Like there is not a business owner that does not need a month-end report. And I would argue that hopefully you're able to find the key numbers you need from those reports as well. Because I think numbers don't mean anything unless you're putting it to context for your business. Ghosting you, like if you are in a conversation with a potential new partner and you can't get a response, or if you're working with a current provider and they're not responding, maybe they don't respond for months, and all of a sudden you have like this big to-do list right before your taxes are due, or right before a big deadline, or right when you're asking for something and they have like a huge catch-up list for you, you're probably not working with the right person for your business. And I think you should just be aware of that.
Yeah. I mean, for that last one, I will just say, and I like that in the questions is, what does communication look like? Because in there should be information around what does turnaround time look like for responses. So, the definition of ghosting isn't just what you feel about ghosting. Because I definitely have a couple clients where they'll email me, but then they'll email me the next day or text message me or both. Be like, hey, I emailed you yesterday. It's like, hey, our communication policy says within 48 hours. Like, we're only at hour 20, actually. Like, calm down. It's okay. I don't talk like that with clients. This is what goes in my brain. This is what happens in my brain. We've all had them. Okay. If we're all owners, we've all had these thoughts, but it's like, okay, but we just have to remember that ghosting piece is all based on their communication policy. But with that said, basically what I'm hearing is like anything that makes you feel like you're going to be dependent on somebody, run away. And we should really be listening for things that are empowering, things that help us be better business owners, et cetera. Because I mean, the key is we're the CEOs and owners of our business. We're not trying to be, I don't need to be the bookkeeper myself. I need to have somebody who's going to help me be a better CEO and a bit better owner. So, I mean, I guess with that said, anything else to add on like what a great bookkeeper relationship looks like?
Yeah, I think when you find the right one, there's going to be some things that like maybe you'll know, right? If they're asking you good questions, like about how you're making money or how you plan to make money, if they're explaining things and they want to explain things, I think I'm guilty of being more on the education side. Like I love telling my clients why something means what it means or what it's going to impact or, just things that empower them more to have information that lets them make big decisions. If they're on time, responsive, proactiveness, I think is a huge one. I always encourage our team, like we should be finding things or noticing things before our clients do and bringing it to their attention. This falls into, they should help you see patterns, problems, profit, and really being that partner next to you. Like they should be your cheerleader, right? Like wanting to see you succeed and doing things that are going to help you do that. Now, I know, you made a great point about it depends on maybe your engagement or like their communication timeline. Like there are parameters around this because if you're expecting the Cadillac service, but you're paying for the bare minimum to get by, don't have unrealistic expectations. Like this is a partnership and you shouldn't be expecting things for nothing. But if you are engaging with them to this level and paying for that level of clarity and service, you should be getting it. Like you should feel better. And maybe you're not in the right package if you're already with somebody. Have that conversation because maybe they do want to support you on a different level. Maybe you're just not engaged that way. So I encourage you to either have the conversation or, maybe you're not with a great fit and kind of think about these things that will tell you you are with a right bookkeeper.
You said something about over-explaining. Do you ever find it strange when there's a client that doesn't want to know what's going on? We don't have to go down that road. I'm just saying, like, it's really because I'm like you too. I want my clients to understand what's going on. So whenever I run into a client, it's just like, okay. I'm just like, what? It catches me off guard. But anyway, I think the whole thing here is it's not just about numbers, everybody. Okay. It's about finding a partner that wants to help you build a business. Okay. And helps you, understand the finances. So you're just not guessing all the time, especially when tax time rolls around, but like any time. I mean, finances are important throughout the year. Sometimes pivots have to happen. So this partner needs to be helpful in that way.
Yeah. And I'm going to touch on that real quick. Your question, like, yes, it's hard, but I will say, I think what's tougher is like when a business owner doesn't think that they can ask, or if they don't, and it's something that we really could have helped with. I think I struggle more on that side. Like maybe that they don't understand that those questions could come to us and it'd make their life a lot easier. So I always tell our clients, like, when in doubt, send us the question and we will just tell you if it's in our wheelhouse or not in our wheelhouse. Because we've run into that frequently as well. But yeah, I don't know. I love more of the education empowerment. So, when some action steps, I think, to wrap this up that you can take if you're thinking about hiring a bookkeeper, or maybe you already have one and you're wondering if maybe you should be looking to see if there's different support out there, or maybe asking them for support on a different level. First, make a list of what you actually want support with. Is it tax? Like, are you unclear about taxes? Do you need more clarity around your cash? Do you need help making sure you're paying yourself? Do you need help knowing if you can hire somebody in your business? Can you afford it? These can change too, just so you know. Like, whatever it is right now that you need support with, have that list. If you've previously had a bookkeeper, or you have one now that you're like, maybe I don't want to work with this person anymore, have a list of what you did like and what you did not like, because that's going to help you in speaking with potential new partnerships in the bookkeeping world to make sure you don't work with somebody that has some of the same qualities that you did not like about the previous engagement. Use that list of questions that we provided today. I am going to give Dan a list of these that can be linked in the show notes. So you can have that. Or shameless plug, you could just hire us. Like, we are always here for you.
And I can tell you, they're awesome. They're awesome.
Thank you. And we do offer business wellness checks. So if you are working with somebody, or you have QuickBooks and you're like, something feels off, just ask. Like, we have a whole process, shocking, or a check for this that we can really give you guidance. And maybe it's just clarity to say, hey, things are great. Whoever you're working with is doing things great. And it can give you that peace of mind as well.
Very cool. Very cool. Love it. So look, if this has helped you feel more confident about what to ask when bringing someone in to look at your books, because like we said earlier, some people, and that can feel a little weird. Okay. Share this with a friend if you've loved this, or tag us online in your social feeds, if you will, or tag us in emails or within your executive teams. Share this episode around. If you're a bookkeeper listening right now and you feel like shouting yeah to everything we've talked about, sweet, share it with your clients. It'll just save everybody a whole ton of headaches. You can also just leave us a review and tell us there too, wherever you're listening. So with that, what's coming up next, Bridget? What are you working on next?
We are going to launch another piece of our accounting coaching. So we have been diving into the accounting world, coaching other accountants and bookkeepers. Because I've mentioned it, I love educating. So we're going to launch what I'm calling backwards bookkeeping, because I firmly believe that understanding why you're doing something and starting with the end goal and working backwards is how people actually learn better. And we're considering rolling out something similar for business owners so that they can gain more confidence in understanding what taxes mean and then what everything they're doing day to day to get to that point. So we have two fun little backwards learning things going on over here.
Man, as soon as those are ready, we'll need to share those links out because that sounds so valuable. Can't wait for it. Thank you for sharing that. That's so cool. Yeah. On our end, we just onboarded that 6 of 6 clients that we talked about before that we had like basically signed in the last couple of weeks. So we are kind of like, let's get back to like a steady state. It's just been a whole lot of running and chaos. So there's that. I'm prepping for a speaking event. Basically this Friday from whenever this episode airs, this Friday afterwards, I'm speaking at an event, Kalamazoo Marketing Exchange. So prepping for that. And then otherwise, I am just looking forward to some Saturday football. Okay. I'm rooting on my Illini. At the moment of recording, they're ranked 17th, but they've got some big games coming up. I think OSU is the next one. And that's going to be, it's always a tough matchup, especially for us. So, but that's what I'm going to be rooting for. My alma mater, go Illini. That's it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks for joining us today for our episode around how to hire a bookkeeper. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have an idea for a future episode, we'd love to hear from you. Check out whatthebiz.com. We got a form on there. You can even leave us a voicemail and maybe hear your voice on a future episode. But until then, see you on the next one.